Mic test. A very good evening again, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. I'm Jean from Buddhist Fellowship Singapore. And in fact, today is the first time BF is partnering dhammadownload.com, which is a Burmese group, to co-organize this very special Dhamma talk by Bhante Dhammasami. So thank you very much for coming to join us and witnessing this collaboration that has taken several years to cultivate. Shall we put our hands together for the Dhamma workers who have made it possible, for the volunteers from both BF as well as Dhamma Download. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm and the passion for the Dhamma. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So once again, I shall repeat for the people who have just joined us, for the Q&A section, which would take place after the Dhamma talk, please write your questions legibly on pieces of paper. Pass it to our very helpful Dhamma workers wearing yellow shirts, or you can pass it to me also. So we'll bring it forward, try to categorize them a bit, and then pass it on to Bhante, who will read out the question and address the questions. So we have about a good 30 to 45 minutes for that. Don't need to hurry, okay? Great. So this evening, we're very happy to have Bhante with us. I would like to read a very brief bio of Bhante, who has traveled a long distance from the UK to teach us in Singapore for a few days. So a monk for more than 30 years, Venerable K. Dhammasami is a Buddhist chaplain at Oxford University, where he graduated with a doctorate degree. Venerable is the abbot of Oxford Buddha Vihara, which has a branch in Singapore, and regularly teaches in Europe, Thailand, and Myanmar. Combining his experiences in the West with Buddhist traditions, Venerable has taught classes on emotional management, drawing on Buddhist mindfulness practices and modern psychology. So friends in the Dhamma, let's put our palms together to welcome Bhante.
Yeah.
So friends, if you would like to join me in offering bows to Bhante as well as the community of monks present here as a mark of respect. Sayadaw, can I request that you lead us in some opening puja?
We are going to pay respect to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. We are going to pay homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha by reciting together Namo Tassa 3 times. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi, iti piso svakato suptipanno together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Diyampi Dhammaṃ saranam, Dutiyampi Sanghaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Tadiyampi Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Tadiyampi Dhammaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Tadiyampi Sanghaṃ saranam gacchāmi, iti piso bhagava araha samma sambuddho vicārana sampanno sugato lokavitum anuttaro purisa dhammasarati Deva manusana Buddho Bhagavati Sawakato Bhagavata Dhammo Santitiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Vaniko Pajata Veditapo Vinyuhi Supatipano Bhagavato Savakasa Ujupatipano Bhagavato Savakasa Yapatipano Bhagavato Samhicipatipano Bhagavato Savakasaṅgham Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yugani Purisa Bhukala Bhagavato Savakasaṅgham Ahuneyo Bahuneyo Dakineyo ปัญจติกรณิยมอนุตตรังปุญญเกตังโลกัสสะสาธุสาธุ
So Sayadaw, the topic of today's talk is mindfulness and emotional management in daily life. So I was sharing with the audience earlier that the interesting thing is that you will be able to show us how it is, modern psychology can be combined with ageless Buddhist teachings. So may I request for Dhamma sharing, please?
I didn't plan to come in a wheelchair. But I take this as a good opportunity to look at myself and to relate to other people. So this evening, for mindfulness and emotion management, I like to focus on what has happened to me yesterday, the fall that I had in the botanic garden. I was taken to the emergency service. So I like to focus on emergency service and emergency resources. The focus is how often do we use our emergency resources, and is it necessary that we use them? If you use your emergency resources, you use up more of your physical and mental energy at the maximum level. I'm sure we have many medical professions here. At the emergency level, your liver, your heart, your lung, they pump up more blood. You use up more of your energy, your oxygen, your blood. Why we do that? Because we think it's an emergency case. Consider a meeting between a prey, like a deer, and a predator, a lion or a tiger. In an African safari, maybe like Serengeti, like in Kenya, Ambosli, in South Africa, Kruger Park, like this. When the prey and the predator meet, what happens? For the prey, it's a life and death situation. Like Charles Darwin says, life and death situation is what we call survival instinct. The survival instinct will kick in, and we will straight away go into emergency response. That's automatic. We call this fight or flight. A deer, if it can escape the predator, it will use up all its energy and trying to run away. Trying to run away from the predator. It's a matter of life and death. If the deer thinks that it cannot escape, then the deer, will fight back using more aggression, all the aggression that it has to fight back, to fight and flight. Flight means to run away. But for animals, in the animal kingdoms, okay, once you have escaped from a predator, what you do? You can switch off the emergency response and you return to the normal, normal response to the normal situation. A deer will start eating the green grass straight away. Can we do that as a human being? We are too clever to do that. You go to work, somebody didn't say hello to you in the morning, and you start thinking in your mind, maybe this person has something in mind against me. The whole day, okay? You don't realize actually you have gone into an emergency mode. You are tense. You go home. You are still in emergency mode. Your family at home is waiting for you with hot food to have dinner together, but your mind is still in the office. You can't switch that off and start eating the green grass like a deer in the animal kingdom. It's in the same way. If you have a difficult time at home, you go to work, you take this emergency mode with you. A social psychologist from New York University has done a research about operation, something that patients have to make a decision all the time in the hospital. Two groups of people, okay, they are given different information. One of them given an information that, okay, this particular operation technique, okay, has 70% success rate, 70%. The second group is told that this particular operation technique has a 30% failure rate. Okay, one is 70% success rate, the other is 30%. The 30%, the second group, they go straight into a negative mood. They don't want to go for operation. And the first group, they are very happy. Wow, 70% success rate, very good. Then in the second phase, the first group is told 70% success rate means there is a 30% failure rate. Now, the positive attitude changes straight away. Now, they don't want to do operation anymore. The second group, who were first given the negative information, 30% failure rate. Now, we give them, well, actually, there is still 70% success rate. More than double of the failure rate. But they don't change their attitude. They stick to the negative attitude. Why? Because survival instinct means, we care so much about our survival. And if you say something negative, it got stuck in my mind very easily. 10 people come up and say, wow, Seattle, your talk is wonderful. But just one person comes and I don't know what you talk about. It's all rubbish. That one person is going to get stuck in my mind. This is what we call negative bias. We are negative biased. Half full and half empty. We always see half empty. But this is if we leave our emotion unmanaged. If we leave it as it is. The Buddha says, we can change ourselves, we can train ourselves. All the Buddha teaches is training. Ethical training, sila sikha. To train how to live, how to relate to people. Psychological training, samadhi sikha, how to calm our mind, how to calm our emotion. Panya sikha, how to train our worldview, how we look at the world. That means Buddhism believes everything can be trained. The two groups that New York University did research on, okay, they were not trained in emotion. They just represent average people everywhere in America, in Europe, here in Singapore, in other parts of the world. It's just like that. I'll be talking a lot about this in 3 sessions tomorrow. But today, I just like to focus on the emergency response. At home, we have to check ourselves from time to time. Am I in emergency mode? Am I using up a lot of my energy? Yesterday in the morning, I was having a nice walk, very nice walk in the Botanic Garden. And we were going down to the pond near the shore foundation to feed fish. I knew the grass, was slippery. So I took off my shoes and I walked very carefully. I fell down twice. The second time, I fractured my ankle. I had to immediately look at my mind, how my mind was reacting. Was I using a lot of automatic thoughts, automatic reaction, emergency reaction? If I do so, I'm going to get exhausted very soon. Before I reach the hospital, I'm going to get exhausted mentally. When you are exhausted, that means inside you don't have good immunity. You can get affected easily. You talk about this in emotional terms. That means you can be affected by anything happening around you. I can start blaming my assistants, or they can start blaming me, they can start blaming themselves, I can start blaming myself. Very easy. The Buddha says, whenever we are in emergency mode, automatically we are blaming. When we blame other people, we are saying that we are right. It's self-righteous, self-justification. This is self-indulgence. But if we don't blame other people, we start blaming ourselves. I shouldn't have gone there. maybe something like that. And everything, every blame comes from subconscious mind. Subconscious mind. Subconscious mind cannot distinguish between positive and negative emotion. In Abhidhamma, we call this Abhyagata in Pali. Abhyagata means something that you cannot describe either as wholesome or unwholesome. Meaning, the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between good and bad, between wholesome and unwholesome. And the subconscious mind, what it does is to maintain the momentum of life. So, by breathing normally, by checking, like the muscles around my face, around my forehead, if they are tense. If they are tense, then it means that I'm in emergency mode. I need to bring awareness to myself and breathe in and out slow and gentle. Slow and gentle. If I do that, I'm preserving my energy. I'm preserving my energy. The energy is not going downhill, it's not draining. Instead, it's being contained, it's being sustained. It's about acceptance. Acceptance. Yesterday, in the hospital, I was given a jab, that's painkiller. And I was also prescribed 2 kinds of painkiller, paracetamol and another one. I took them yesterday, but today I have not taken them. I would like to feel the pain. I would like to feel the pain. If I feel the pain, I like to know if my mind would go into emergency mode. I like to have a relationship to a connection with the pain. This is my food. I cannot start looking at this as something horrible. So I need to look at this pain as my baby, as my child, my only and one child. So last night before I went to bed, I talked to my food. Okay, I told the pain, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" When I talk to the pain, "Are you okay?" Now, there is no tension. The muscles are not tense. If the muscles are tense, the muscles are using maximum energy, maximum blood, maximum oxygen. So the Buddha says to be aware of pain as pain. To be aware of pain as pain, to be aware of the absence of pain as the absence of pain. What does it mean? Usually, when we are aware of pain, we start judging the pain straight away. We think the pain is bad, I shouldn't have this. I shouldn't have this pain. And all sorts of judgment will go on. We have a lot of prejudice towards pain. You mention the word pain, we only see negative things. This is prejudice. In the hospital, very often you're asked to press 1 to 10, which level to indicate the level of your pain. And I was aware yesterday, in addition to the physical pain, when you are in a physical pain, You can easily go into emergency mode and you can become grumpy. You can get irritated easily. So the hospital has a screen to tell you. The first procedure is X-ray. The second one is a lab test. The third one is medical consultation with a doctor. And the fourth one is treatment. And so that you know where you are, and they warn you, sometimes it may take longer. That's an emotion management for the patient, so that the patient knows that it can take, and it may take time. The physical pain is here. You cannot take away from this because the bone is fractured. But how much pain you are in, this is very judgmental, a very judgmental question. If you have to press 1 to 10, mostly we press, based on our emotional judgment. And the doctor gives you, if you press the higher number, the doctor gives you a stronger painkiller. Usually, I tell meditators during the retreat that within 1 hour, the pain that you experience, you don't need painkiller. You don't need painkiller for that. If you train yourself, you can sit a lot longer. But the thing is that as soon as we become aware of pain, there is a habitual reaction. In that habitual reaction, we have a negative attitude towards the pain. We either fight with the pain or we run away from the pain. The pain is not life and death matter, especially in meditation. In 30 minutes, 1 hour meditation, it's not a life and death matter. But we treat that as a life and death situation. We go straight into the maximum level of response. What happens? When you're fighting with the pain, with the physical pain, you are topping up the psychological pain, the emotional pain. There's a top up. And we don't know how much is the top up pain, how much is the original pain. That is why I decided this morning, I think I have a choice to take or not to take the painkiller. I have the painkiller with me. If I can bear with that, then I might take it. But so far, with your support, I'm okay. In the school, children sometimes, they go into the emergency mode very easily. If somebody has something new and you don't have it, you feel left out. That's what we call peer pressure. Okay, you want to have it. Unless you can have it, you can't concentrate on your lessons. And somebody says that, okay, last weekend, okay, we went to somebody's birthday, okay, in the class. If you're not invited, how do you feel? You feel very insecure. You go straight into emergency mode. You feel tense. Your teacher is very good, but you don't see the good thing about your teacher anymore. Okay. Your school is very good, but you don't see the beauty of your school anymore. There are many people in the class who are very good to you, but you don't see them. You only remember somebody who doesn't invite you to his birthday. Only that person. See? So now, whatever you do, that person is your focus. Meaning, your emotion becomes negative. You go to school with negative emotion, you go home with negative emotion, like this. This can happen at work, this can happen when you drive and you're at the traffic light. I usually call this red zone and green zone. Green zone is the normal zone. A red zone is the emergency zone. So we have to check all the time if we are already in the red zone. Then we use mindfulness to accept it. Don't blame yourself for being in the red zone. Just register that, learn from that, recognize that, and relax. You can train your mind not to go into emergency mode easily. This evening, I'd like to invite you to join me in practice, maybe for about 10-15 minutes. The first thing is to take slow and deep breathing, deep and slow breathing. Sit comfortably, okay? Sit comfortably. And as you breathe in and out, slow and gentle, you can feel some of the muscles around your face, around your forehead, around your cheeks, your chin. If they are tense, your shoulders, if they are tense. If you find the muscles tense, don't fight with them. And don't ignore them either. No need to use emergency resources to deal with them. Simply regard the tension as your only child. Are you okay? As if you are talking to your child who is crying, who is being tense. Are you okay, darling? Breathe in and out, slow and gentle. It's important to have nice breathing. During the day, we breathe about 20,000 times. But how many times we breathe properly, supplying enough oxygen to our lung, to our body? If 200 times, that's a very small percent. Slow and deep breathing. If you just come from work, if physically you are tired, the muscles are tense, and then look at those tense muscles as your child. It's okay. Reassure yourself it's okay to feel tired. No need to fight with this tiredness, and no need to run away from this either. No fight or flight. Breathing in and out, slow and gentle, deep breathing. And then think of your day from the morning up to now. In the school, was there any tension? When you talk to your teachers, when you talk to your friends, when you do your work, was there any tension, any insecure feeling? Any like and dislike, especially dislike? Is there any such feeling? If you find that, simply register that this is dislike, that's dislike, that's dislike. Don't personalize it. No need to fight with that dislike. No need to run away from that either. Usually we personalize dislike. We either blame someone else or we blame ourselves. So without doing that, we are changing our emotional habit. The way we manage our emotion, we simply recognize tension, the emotion of dislike, the insecure feeling, worry, anxiety. At work, at home, during the commuting time to work, was there any emotion that drives your response into emergency mode? If you are thinking about what to do tomorrow, next week, if there is an automatic thought, usually that takes you into a very high level response, meaning you are using up a lot of your energy more than you should. So automatic thinking about the future, you got to recognize that as well. Look at that wandering mind, that auto mind as your child, not as your enemy that you need to get rid of. There must be an attitude of metta. Once again, check the muscles around your face, around your ears, around your shoulders, if they are tense. Because you have to rush to be in time for the talk. Revisit in the near past, your own experiences, maybe a tense meeting with someone, maybe a tense meeting in the company, at work, in the social organization, where opinions differ. When you hear that, automatically do you go into the emergency mode? Fight and flight. In that situation, we all become very closed. We close ourselves. We are not open anymore. You look at the buffaloes in Africa. When they are scared, when they are in emergency mode, they just run and they don't care about their fellow buffalo. They stampede on each other. But when they are not in emergency mode, they actually look after each other. They save each other from the lion's jaw. Being in the green zone, you have more courage. Your heart is more spacious, not just for yourself, but for others as well. Just revisit one of the scenarios in the past where you went into emergency mode because of disagreement with someone, with a group of people, and how the mind started personalizing issues. Simply register the emotion as they are. Release them, return to slow and deep breathing. Slow and deep breathing. Now, once again, you can check your physical body if your muscles are tense, from your head to your face, your shoulders, even your fingers, if they are tense. Slow and deep breathing, relax them. Okay, you can open your eyes now. This is a short practice. It's not enough, but I hope you get something out of this. I'd like to go back to the pain that I have. The pain, usually, as I mentioned, we look at the pain from purely negative point of view. We don't like it. In all the languages, 4 or 5, that I know, but when people speak about pain, they are all very negative. But without pain, how do we know to take care of our body? How do we know when to eat? Okay, how do we know when to stop eating? How do we know that we have sat for too long, now we need to get up and have a walk? How do we know? It's only pain. Pain is a message. Don't fight with the message, with the messenger. But every time that pain arises, if we go into emergency mode and try to fight with it because we have a very fixed view, preconceived notion, any pain is bad. If we live in that frame of thought, you go easily into emergency mode. So it's important to make friends with pain. To be friends with pain. My tissue, they don't want to be in pain. Okay. My muscle, they don't want to be in pain. So I have to talk to them, are you okay? But the pain has a reason. There's a reason that there is pain in my foot, my left foot. So listening to this pain calmly is part of emotion management, a very important part of emotion management. Sometimes, because everything is very established here in Singapore, everything is very quick, people lose the ability to tolerate over a course of meal, just one meal. How many times you go into emergency mode? Because it's too much salt, it's too much chili, not enough chili, because of this, because of that. Or just one meal, okay? You get fed up with one meal, and then you move to another one. Because so one thing good about Europe is that they eat just one dish, one at a time. A starter, just one. Soup, just one. Before you finish your soup, nothing else will come. So you have no choice. So you are forced to live with this. But in Asia, especially in Southeast Asia, we have many dishes. You start eating one dish. After a few bites, you start getting fed up with this. You become disinterested in this. You divert your attention to the other dish. You are not aware of this. It becomes a habit, second nature. The second dish, you can't stay with that long either. After a few bites, you have to move to a third one. So you are running away. You are running away from your own restlessness, from your own dislike of a certain dish. Fight and flight. Okay, that's the emergency mode. Even in eating, you're having this. So the Buddha says, we need to take care of ourselves as if, we only have one child. We dedicate all our energy to this child. At the moment, the pain in my left foot is my only child. I shouldn't be fighting with this. And to run away from this, by listening to, by watching television, by listening to radios, by reading books, I might be running away from that. By doing that, actually, I'm using up more of my energy. And I'm going to get exhausted by doing that. So I just want you to take one question today. I have no answer. Just take one question. Am I in emergency? Am I using my emergency resources for the right reason? If it's not life and death situation, we are overusing our energy. I was very grateful to the ambulance that came to take me yesterday. At the back, I noticed a non-emergency ambulance. What? It reminded me about mindfulness, not to go into emergency mode. Very important. Simply your neighbors, were a little bit not mindful and made some noises. And if you go straight into the emergency mode, what will happen? You will go into emergency mode all the time because you are into the habit. So at Oxford, the education system is that the answer is not important. To ask the right question is the most important, more important than giving the right answer. So today, the right question that I'd like to ask is, are we using our emergency resources correctly? Thank you. Any question?